Well, here it is. The new pool was delivered today. Yep. Oh, that side up. Great. It's not up. It doesn't look like there's any damage from shipping. So let's do an unboxing video. This should be fun. So I got all this stuff from poolwarehouse.com. That's what I ended up going with. And the prices seem pretty reasonable. I did have to deal with 2 of their service representatives. And I will say they were both very polite and knowledgeable. But I did have an issue just trying to pay for this because they would not accept my credit card. They've got some kind of a security system that that references some national database of billing addresses, is what they tell me. And if the shipping address does not perfectly match the billing address on your card, then the card won't it won't allow you to. It won't allow the transaction. That was not the case for me. My shipping address perfectly matched the billing address, but it wouldn't go through. I tried 2 different cards from 2 different banks. I even called both banks and just verified character by character that everything was exactly as I had entered it, case sensitive, abbreviations, everything was verified, and there's nothing that they could do. They would not go through. So I ended up having to wire them money for this, which wire transfers, in my experience, are pretty quick, pretty much instantaneous. But for some reason, this still took like 3 or 4 business days to clear their system, even after wiring it. So at that point, I'm getting very nervous. But anyway, it did finally clear. And then once it did, everything was pretty smooth. It was, I think, just 3 days after it cleared, it finally shipped. So compared to when I wanted to order it and wanted to get this delivered by, I'm now delayed by a couple of weeks because of this process. So that was a bummer. But so when the money finally did clear, I asked them, well, can you expedite the shipping at all? And they said, oh, well, we can't expedite an LTL shipment, which I understand that you can't expedite anything with the carrier, but maybe you could just get it off your dock sooner. It seems reasonable. Just expedite your shop process. But they're just a middleman with the manufacturer, and there's nothing they can do. So, but anyway, it's here now. And I now have a whole bunch of rewards points with this company that I can't use unless I wire them more money. So that's frustrating. But otherwise, seems like a good company. But we'll see. I haven't even started this yet. Oh, good. These are in here. I was wondering if those were going to come with it. Perfect. Are these the instructions? Oh, yeah. I should mention with that address issue, I have one of those football play style addresses. Or it's West 45, North 23, which tends to get screwed up in systems quite a bit. Used to be you could not plug an address like that into a GPS. Now it's working a bit better. So I'm sure that's what the problem was, but still everything matched. So I don't know. Okay. Ooh, that's cool. So these are the side supports, the ones that take all the side on all the pressure on the long side of the oval. My old ones, it just came down vertically to about here and then shots off at a 45, probably about this much footprint. That's cool. Got back a couple of feet of my yard. All right, the day has come. We're gonna start assemblage on this pool. So we've Jesse and I have been doing a lot of work getting the ground sort of prepped. All this soil here, this was really dug up. And you can see the line where it was up on the post there. We still have a lot more ground prep to do here, but I'm gonna want to start getting a little bit of measuring done, just to kind of get the pool centered and see where exactly we're gonna need to shovel out some more. So here's the instructions I've got. Sorry, this 132 by 16 is going to be ours. So I'm going to focus right now on where these are going to land, because that's going to be our biggest thing. They should be pretty close, if not exactly the same as the old one, but we got to be sure, because like this foot here, or this one, it was right alongside this support for the deck. So we need to make sure that that doesn't land a little bit closer in and hit this. Also, the way that the deck has been formed around where the pool starts to wrap, and make sure that's not going to interfere at all. Okay, so yeah, I think this is going to be as far away as that's going to get. So let's measure from the middle of that. That's going to give us our center point. Okay, so what I've done here so far is determined the point at which this cannot go any farther that way. So what I did is, this is 3.5 inches wide, so the center point is 1 3/4, and then it is off the, we have this somewhat level, is about 1/4 inch off of that board. An extra 1/4 inch, that's 2 inches even. So from this board, from the edge of this board, the center line then is 2 feet, because these are meant to be 4 feet apart on center. So 2 feet out, and then back 2 inches to accommodate for how far it is off the board. That means 22 inches is their center point, and I've got a screw driven in there. From there, we need to figure out how far off the deck it needs to be. All right, here's a new toy I got. It's laser level. It's got 3 axes on it. This is going to, I kind of splurged a little bit on this, but I think it's something I'm going to use. But right now, I want to see exactly where on this mark. I want to mark where the edge of this board is under the deck here, compared to this, because I need to figure out when this is sitting here on top. I want to make sure that this is not too far in. I need to see how far off we need to build everything so that this is not interfering. Now, I'm okay if this hangs over the deck a little bit, but if this could butt up, I'm just going to say that this board under here is a good mark, so that if this hangs over by that much, that'll look pretty good. Also, just looking down here where these boards are cut off in relation to the, I guess, what would you call this board? A girder, right? Is that the word you use? Anyway, I don't think they built the pool quite square to the deck, or the deck quite square to the pool. Or I think the deck was built afterwards. So the deck is probably square to the house, and the pool was a little bit off. So all of these are cut pretty, there's like a half inch here, and there's a few inches of overhang on the other side. So I'm going to make the pool square to this board. If that means chopping off some of this, I'm okay with that. So that's what we have to measure from. The pool, the side of the pool is going to go in this groove right here. So I'm going to measure from the middle of this groove to the edge of this, and that will tell us the distance off the deck the wall of the pool has to be. And that's what all the measurements in the instructions go off of. So once we know that spot, then we can start really figuring out where everything is going to land. Looks like 7 1/4 inches. So I'm going to screw this to the bottom here and make a mark. I'll measure out and make a mark of where the edge of the pool is going to be, and then I'll be able to set this right on that mark and make a string line or whatever it's going to be to mark the edge all the way back and forth. So 7 1/4. I'll have to do this again over there so that I have something to measure to. All right, so let me show you what I've got set up here for my plan. So, I've got these boards attached here, and I have my mark on each of these to know what the edge of the pool is going to be off the side of the deck. So I'm going to set the laser on that mark and make sure it lines up with the other one, and then I've got these 2 stakes driven in here, and then also way over there on the other side, same thing. So once we'll be able to see this laser shooting over on here, and wherever that laser lines up on this, I can drill a screw in on both sides and then run a string across this whole thing, and that's going to show us where the edge of the pool is going to be. Okay, that's lined up with that mark. Let's get it lined up with the other one. There it is. There's our mark right there. We'll drive a screw in, do the same thing on the other side, and then run a string. Okay, got the string tied off on the other side. On this side, I just made a loop right here in the end of the string. What I can do is just loop that around the screw and put this back through here, just like that. And that gives me something I can pull across, because we want this to be super tight. There, that should be good. Okay, I'll just pinch that, tie another knot. Good. That's pretty good. So now, if we can measure off that line, but once we need to take it down, I can just take the string right here, take it off, roll it back up. But these stakes and that screw will always stay in place, so if I need to run this string back, I can do it real fast. Okay, day 2 of trying to get this done. We've made some progress. I've got my string line in for the inside edge of the pool that's closest to the deck. And now I want to define the outside corners. And so I've got more stakes and boards put in here like so, and we're going to get the string lines ran on all of the outside edges so we can figure out exactly where this is going to go. And then from there, the first priority is to figure out the center of the half circle that's going to be on the side of the oval. Figure out a good, that's about where that stake is right there, but I want to be sure. And then from there, we can measure out the radius from that to make sure that we're not going to hit that side of the deck. That's still my first priority before we start digging footings and everything. I came down, this screw here is still the center point. I plumbed down from there onto the string and just made a little mark. It's not going to focus on the little string, but there's just a Sharpie mark there. And then so I measured from the stakes over there all the way to center, and I know that the edge of the pool is 16 feet out from center. So I subtracted 16 feet from whatever that total measurement was from the stakes, and then that is the measurement from the stakes to the edge of the pool. So I did that, and I have another mark on the string right there, and I did the same thing on the other side. So now I'm going to use this big square, and it's not going to be perfect, but I'm going to square up the best I can to this line and then make a mark over there, drill a screw in, and then tie a string to that. I know that the distance between this line and the one out there is going to be 16 feet. So from here, I'll make a point 16 feet plus whatever this measures out to be. And then I can attach that string to this other side, and wherever that mark lands is going to be the edge of the pool on this side. Now we still won't know exactly how we're going to be square to that, but that will come next. We'll have to play with it a little bit to make it square up, and then we'll take some diagonal measurements and make sure. But that's the plan so far. Here we go. Okay, got all our string lines in. Took lots of measurements to the diagonal. Jesse came out and helped me get some measurements out here. Got the diagonals are correct here, and from there to there within a 1/4 inch. So I think that's really good. And really, these ones on the sides don't matter so much. These longer ones are what are really important, because our side supports are going to butt right up to that line. But these ones on the sides, those are going to figure themselves out. So now what I need to start doing is leveling out all of the sides here. There has to be a level ring around the whole pool for all the supports to be level within 1 inch. The instructions, I'll show you real quick what the instructions say to do. So right here, so they are recommending you drive a stake in and pound it down to a certain point, and then create yourself the same height block to attach to a board to run across there. And so you can swing this board all the way across and set your level on top of it to make sure that everything is perfect. That seems like a lot of work. So, which is the reason why I splurged and bought this thing. And then this guy, I'm going to attach to the stick, because the laser is going to be hard to see in the sunlight here. So this is going to receive that laser. So I'll be able to just set this on the ground, and it'll tell me, oh, you're a little bit high. I'll dig out some more, set it down again, and it'll tell me if I'm exactly level to that laser. I'll go around the whole thing first to find the low point, and then I will level everything off to that low point. I can't really tell if it's high or low. What I can do is just move the stick down like this. Okay, so it is not low, so it's high. Okay, so this spot is lower than over there, so I'll bring this down a little. This thing is sensitive. That's pretty good. And really, as long as we are hearing a beep, this whole window that it receives in is about an inch. Yeah, it's about an inch. And we can be up to 1 inch off. So really, as long as we're getting a beeping everywhere, we're within tolerance. But still, we're going to strive to be as good as possible. Sure gets annoying. That's the spot we're going to level everything to. Right there. Let's get to work. Well, I was planning to work on the pool for a couple hours a day after work this week. But then it rained for 2 days straight, and now I'm dealing with this. Yeah. How are we going to get that water out? This is a lot of water. I can't wait for this to dry up. It's going to take way too long. Okay, here's my plan. I got this hose here with an end tight on it like that for weight. So I'm going to toss this out in the deep end, and then the other end of the hose I will attach to this hand pump, and I'm just going to spend the next several hours pumping out the water. I'm going to make a fire, grab a beer, I got a chair, just going to hang out and pump some water. Okay, new plan. I'm going to try to use the pool pump to suck this out. I really don't think it's going to work because the pump is not made to pull water out, it's made to push it. I have a little bit of water in there just to have it kind of primed, and I'm going to just put this here and we'll flip the switch and just see if it works. And try to keep that out of the dirt. Let's see. Here we go. Nope. That is not going to work. Okay, we're getting serious now. Alright, so this is the skimmer from the old pool. So my plan is I'm just going to take buckets, bring them from the pool, dump them in here. Then out of that, it's going to go into this tube that I pulled off of the sub pump. And then it'll go down here into this gutter that I pulled off the house. And then into a couple sections of the uprights off of the new pool. And then from there, it should have a good enough downslope to get back into the creek. Yep, here we go. Well, this is working fairly well. Jesse and the kids came out to help, and we got quite a bit of this bailed out. So I'm going to do a bit more this morning and then let the sun take over for a while, and then we'll get back to leveling off the sides here and getting these supports in. All right, quick update. Sun's doing a good job getting this rainwater out of here. I'm not going to go any farther than that because we're clearly not going to get done today or this weekend even, and later on this week we're expecting more rain, so the level is down enough that we can start digging out enough area for the supports. I just got done getting this super level. It's all dug out and super level. That other side is too. I got to go back and fine tune it, but it's pretty good. So I'm going to start digging out and placing this first upright support right here. I want to start with this one because it's the one that has the most chance of interfering with the railing of the deck and the foot of the deck and everything. So I'm going to get that one in place first, and then if we need to adjust it all, we'll do it here before we do all the rest. Going to the instructions here. This is where we're at right here. So I need to dig this out. Here's the string line. So I need to go forward into the pool, 25 inches, 4 inches across, 3.5 inches deep, and then dig out this big square for the cinder block to go in. Okay, this is what I've got. See, I can't exactly center this block based on where we're going to have this one. And by the way, all I did to find the position is when I had the string line across here, I had the center mark sharpied onto the string line, and then I just measured out 2 feet from there, made another mark, and then plumbed it down from that to find exactly where we're going to be. So now the next part, I need to go find these pieces and assemble them, put them all together on this thing, and then put it all into place and see if it's going to be level like this. Well, here's the first one. It's not cemented in yet, of course. It's not, I'll wait until we've got them all set to do that. It's kind of tough to make this sit level, but I'll pack in some dirt there and try to make this sit like that. But it's pretty well exactly where it needs to be. This mark there on the string is supposed to be center. And when I make it level right there, that's where it sits. So pretty close. Got a little bit of wiggle room if we need to once we get the other ones in and get across, but that bottom plate is level and it is sitting on the block. Okay, quick update. I've got 3 uprights in. I've been using a sledgehammer here to kind of even out the blocks. I get the blocks in just above where they need to be, and then I'll tap them down with the sledgehammer so they kind of get glued into place. And then we'll come back and pour concrete on them. Now I need to switch over to this other side, and it was a big pain actually trying to find the reference points for this one. You got to start by finding the center point on this string. So measuring 16 feet from the point where these strings cross to find the center. And then once we got that mark, I asked Jesse to help me get some cross measurements from those outside points to the center, and also from the upright that's going to be there and that one to this center point. And at that point, we were starting to get a lot of different measurements and could not figure out why. So I got the laser set back up, and it's hitting a mark over on that post and same thing on that other one. So we know that we're square to the deck, or to this side of the pool anyway. Also lined it up so that we're not only hitting those, but also hitting the center mark screw that we put in. And then that got me a more accurate mark over on this side of the string. And then taking one more quick measurement just from our center mark on this string to the end, turns out this mark is about a 1/4 inch that way. So that's what was throwing us off, but it's fine. The spacings here are measured from that mark, so that our spacings are correct. We just need to now match that on that side. So 1/4 inch that way, and now we can move forward. Yeah, let me show you quick how I've been plumbing down from the mark I make on the string. So here's our center point. Here's a pro tip. If you've got a whole bunch of marks that you've made and then you need to remember which one is correct, I just colored in a bunch on either side of the right mark, and so now this white is the center. So measured off 2 feet from there, this is where the first upright needs to go. So the way that I've been plumbing down from that, I have this tool. I have no idea what it was for. I inherited it from my grandpa, but I tied it to a string and I've just been putting that right on the mark. And then when it's there, I can kind of twist it so that I have a good point and then drop it. Now that is exactly where our upright needs to go. There's the mark. And now the supports that come out into the pool, it's 4 inches across, so set that there, and now I can make a mark right there and right there, and that's what I got to dig out. Now I measure that way and that way as far as the directions tell you to do, and dig it out 3.5 inches. Okay, another day down on this. I'm just about to quit for the day. Unfortunately, we got the work week starts again tomorrow, so I get maybe an hour or so after work to continue on it. But before we quit, I wanted to assemble this rail around this side here by the deck to make absolutely sure that we're not going to run into the deck at all with any of these uprights before I cement any of these in or continue on. I just wanted to get all the uprights on this side done so that I have a reference to build this. This is all just to build this so that I can make sure it's not going to interfere with the deck in case we need to make any adjustments now. And it looks okay. Let me put you on a tripod and I'll show you what it's going to end up as. Okay, so this is going to be on here, something like this. Once this gets screwed on, this is going to bend in quite a bit, but this is a pretty okay reference. So about like that. It's level-ish. And then this thing is what is the top beautification panel, and then this little skirt on the bottom. That's going to be on there about like that. And this is going to come in there quite a ways too. So about that is what we can expect when we're done. And if I hold this kind of level, you can see we've got plenty of room here. This is going to be a couple inches lower once all the ground is level. But even then, I think we're in good shape. And if I go and test this one, yeah, same thing, even better. So we're good. It's going to work out just perfect. It'll actually overhang the edge of the deck a little bit. It's exactly what we want. Good stuff.